growing up, Nintendo wasn't just a company that made games. It was the company that really understood gaming. Every device that they created, it felt intentional, like someone had actually thought through the weight of the device in your hands, the way that the buttons would feel playing Smash Brothers, for instance, and even the way that your face would light up opening that original Nintendo DS back in the day. And I will say lately, I feel like that magic has kind of been fading from a company that I had lifelong ties to. And for the first time in my life, I think someone else is showing us what handheld gaming can be. And no, I'm not referring to the Steam Deck, although that is too applicable in this kind of conversation. Who I'm referring to is someone that Nintendo probably never saw coming, and honestly might not even want to acknowledge. It's called IISU, and it's kind of beautiful. So what is IISU actually? Put simply, it's a love letter to handheld gaming. It's a framework that can take retro handheld devices and transform it into something that feels complete and polished, like someone actually cared. Think of it as the front end that emulation always deserved, but never actually got. And it's built from scratch for currently Android handhelds with Linux support coming. And it offers some beautiful aesthetics with two different UI styles. You have a clean minimalist look, and then you've got like this liquid glass design that is coming from inspirations like the original PSP or even the PS3, and even some inspiration from the Nintendo 3DS home screen. You know, all the consoles that we loved growing up. So why exactly is this front end causing so much hype? Well, it's actually a lot deeper than that. And let's be honest, emulation has always been kind of a mess. You download a ROM here, get a BIOS there, tweak some settings, and next thing you know, it's not working correctly. Everything's broken and you're frustrated and you're spent hours trying to find the right core that you don't fully understand, and Googling error codes and getting frustrated and spending more time setting up a device than actually playing it. I've totally been there myself. And that's really where IISU is trying to come in and solve, right? Emulation is very powerful and sometimes ridiculously so, but it's never felt cohesive across all of my systems and ROMs, especially if you have a device that can truly be your one-stop shop, like the Ain Thor. It's always been trying to like cram a bunch of different files into like a Game Boy shell and hope that everything just works. But IISU actually changes all of that. When you boot up a device running IISU, you're actually greeted by a home screen that actually makes sense. There's no clutter, there's no confusion, just widgets showing your recently played games, random picks from your favorites, titles you haven't touched in a while, and then you can also customize up to 5 pages with whatever you want. Functional widgets, decorative elements, dynamic screenshots. I even saw in the live video that they put out, like YouTube integration. You can do different play history settings. Everything about the interface really is yours to shape. You got layouts, you got icons, you got themes, you got backgrounds. And that's what makes it feel so special. Now, there is a premium tier that unlocks even more customization, but the core experience, that's actually free. And it's already more polished than anything that I've seen from the Switch or the Switch 2 official hardware. Now imagine this, you buy any emulator handheld that you want, the choice is truly yours and your budget, and the moment you turn it on, it feels like a dedicated gaming console, not a folder full of files, an actual real gaming system. Games appear like official titles in IISU. Updates flow like first-party patches. The system manages everything for you, versions, compatibility improvements, without you needing to dig through folders and debug anything. And this is the best part, guys. Suddenly the ROMs that you've acquired stop feeling like files that you stole from the internet. They start feeling like games again. And that's really where I feel so excited. We should all be very excited about this new front end. Every platform in IISU gets its own visual identity. You get gradients and icon collection features that just really make sense for the console. Every game has a full media stack. Like I said, you got screenshots, artwork, and even, as I mentioned before, embedded YouTube videos, which is just wild. There's a universal navigation bar mapped to your bumpers, something that handheld makers never really bothered to standardize, which really makes everything feel smooth and intuitive, and is really giving you that Nintendo experience that I kind of craved with the Switch 1. But here's something wild. IISU actually deeply integrates way more than just a visual style. It also builds in retro achievements, the community-driven system that gives you badges and tracks progress across classic games. Every achievement is unlocked, is stored, and organized in a beautiful display on a handheld of your choosing. And that's honestly the best part. Imagine getting different achievements for like the original Mario game or Super Mario Brothers 3 or Yoshi's Story, right? Games that have been lost to time but given a modern flair. And that's really where the beauty of IISU really is kind of taking things. Notifications pop up instantly, and it really feels like a really cool ecosystem built by people who actually play games and not just developers checking boxes. And the real cool thing is that there's even dual screen support for devices like the Ainthor or the IISU Flip DS, bringing back features that Nintendo invented but has long abandoned, like map previews, digital manuals, touchscreen controls, obviously, and then the second screen gameplay. All of it modernized and elegant, given that beautiful and Nintendo-inspired flair. Oh, and there's also a media browser, kind of inspired by the PSP style. You got music, videos, photos, all linked from your folders, with the ability to autoplay on game pages or add ambiance to your own home layout. That's insane. I'm really excited to have background music while browsing my library on a 2DS looking system. That's actually wild. Your handheld becomes what handhelds were always supposed to be: fun, personal. You can customize it. It's yours, right? And this is where it really hit me, guys, because I remember the original DS. God, do I remember getting that the year that it dropped, December. The OG chunky little thing with its two screens. The way that it sounded when you opened it up, and the sound of the menu music when you turn it on, getting greeted by Picto Chat and the bubbly menu music. It had personality. It had actual soul in a console that made me feel alive. Every part of that interface felt like someone had designed it with a smile on their face, thinking about the smile that it would cause on our faces for those actually holding and buying the devices. I think the 3DS carried that torch beautifully from the original DS with things like Street Pass, Miiverse, notifications when your friends came online, those sorts of things. But I really think that after the 3DS is really where things kind of fell off. Nintendo systems used to feel like they were happy to see you, but then the Switch launched, and don't get me wrong, the games on the original Switch, games like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Odyssey, those are honestly masterpieces. But the system itself, it felt lifeless. It felt cold. It felt sterile. Like someone had designed it in a boardroom while checking boxes on a feature list instead of thinking about the user in their cozy bedroom. And that's, I think, the disconnection that we're having in the Nintendo community, right? The home screen was just a gray row of squares, no music, no personality, no charm. You couldn't customize it. You couldn't really make it yours or even add a simple theme without literally hacking the device, which was repeatedly shut down with updates. The friend system felt like it was an afterthought. The online infrastructure felt like it was built by people who never actually played online games before. The Switch was a brilliant piece of technology, don't get me wrong, and it had some incredible titles, but the actual interface, it made the device just feel empty and hollow, and it kind of made it feel like they had given up on making anything personal. And that's really where IISU kind of brings all that back: the customization, the personality, the sense that the device is actually yours and happy to see you. It's doing what Nintendo used to do, what they should still actually be doing, but they stopped somewhere along the way. I think they forgot what made them special. Here's the part that actually made me emotional watching that IISU video that dropped earlier last week. It does something revolutionary and honestly a little heartbreaking, and how much it highlights what we've lost in the Nintendo gaming community. Remember when gaming meant sitting on the floor with your best friend and fighting over who got the good blue N64 controller, when multiplayer wasn't about lobbies and ping rates, but actually about being together? Well, that's something that IISU is actually looking to bring back through their network. It really ties in together this beautiful social network, this feature that we haven't seen in handheld emulation before. You can connect with friends through Pretendo, through Pictagon and other retro achievements, all unified in one system. You can post drawings like the old Miiverse days. You can update statuses. Is that not a throwback to OG Facebook and even MySpace? You can send messages in real time, group chats, net play invites, even doodle and send drawings directly to your friends. And then they also added multiplayer that is supposedly just going to use local wireless online play for cross-device detection with real-time ROM and save state syncing. There's no configuration nightmare, allegedly. No hunting down obscure mods or begging your friends to install the same version of some random emulator. Want to play Mario Kart SNES with someone across the country? Allegedly, we will be able to do that, or even be able to play the Game Boy Advance Zelda game, Four Swords, right? Without hunting down link cables that cost more than an actual handheld these days. I think IISU is here to make us smile and just say, here you go. And the rest is for us to have fun. And that's what I'm really, really thankful for. This is the moment you realize Nintendo, the company that invented couch co-op, that raised entire generations on shared screens, has somehow forgotten how important connection is. And that's something that IISU did not forget. There's also an X Central, a built-in community marketplace where you can download themes and UI assets, artwork and music tracks and other user-created content. Like you can bookmark and follow other creators and browse feature collections, just like a real digital storefront. There's also verification tiers, blue for the actual staff of IISU. Then you have indie sellers, which I think get gold, and then red for just regular creators, which kind of brings some legitimacy to a scene of selling assets that always kind of needed that little legitimacy. Plus, there's a new news board where official updates, server maintenance, notes, and community posts are all on an RSS feed. So you can follow your favorite gaming sites like IGN or Retro Game Core, Retro Achievements, whatever you literally want to do. I think what feels so special about this is that it's not just software. They're trying to build an ecosystem that feels alive and genuinely cared for. And that's something that I think Nintendo has just lost. Now let's get this straight. IISU isn't some shady piracy tool. It's about preservation and the presentation of the actual front end. It's about setting a standard that I think retro handheld devices just need, that companies that make these devices couldn't really do on their own, which really gives the players the tools to experience their whole library in a brand new way with care, polish, and frankly, joy. Now we'll end with this uncomfortable truth, which is you can buy a $60 or $100 or even $200 handheld that gives you a better classic gaming experience than Nintendo's own hardware. No drip-fed online libraries or forced subscriptions, or $60 for a remaster of a game that you already own. I think Nintendo started losing their grip that they've held for generations, because if Nintendo had focused on innovating in handhelds, for instance, the way they used to, IISU wouldn't matter. If the Switch had the charm that IISU did, it wouldn't matter what's going on with IISU. But they didn't, and now they've gotten complacent, they've gotten corporate, and in that void, the community stepped up. People who just love games, who care about preserving the past, people willing to refine and rebuild experiences that Nintendo pioneered, but then walked away from. That's really where IISU came in and picked up the ball. IISU is the result of pure, uncompromised passion for gaming. And that's why it's more than just a software at this point. It's actually a statement to Nintendo, a statement that handheld gaming is evolving with or without Nintendo, a statement that user freedom and polish, frankly, can coexist. And it's a statement that nostalgia really does belong to everyone, not just corporations trying to sell it back to us piece by piece. So, dear Nintendo, you haven't lost because we stopped caring about you. You've lost because we started caring more than you do. And that passion, that love for gaming, it's not going anywhere. We're just done waiting for you to remember why that was so magical. The way the original DS and 3DS felt, the original Nintendo, for instance, even the Game Boy Advance, there was charm that has just been lost. So Nintendo, we're going to figure this out. We're going to lead the way. And I really hope that you guys can find that passion again, because the community is longing for life to be breathed back into their consoles. Thanks guys so much for watching today's little rant about IISU. I think it's incredible. Go give them some love. on YouTube. I'll include the link in the description of this video to go watch the full showcase of that presentation. It's absolutely incredible. Go check out my other videos. And if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing to my newsletter, where I actually do giveaways every single month. This month, I'm actually giving away a handheld emulator. So it's pretty on time for this whole announcement anyway. So go check out my newsletter. Link is in the description. It's for free, and it's a great way for me to give you some behind the scenes conversations about what's going on in my little world. So thanks for watching, nerds. Hope you have a great weekend. Tell your grandma I said hi, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.